Okay, so to start off the apps and touchpoints lesson, the first thing we're going to look at is actually the contacts portal. The reason being is that the business app is actually what we use for standalone setups, and we try to discourage our clients from using standalone setups purely because we find the unified integrated approach to be much more effective. So to kick things off, we're just going to go to contacts portal. You'll see you have the general info here, like the name, and then you also have the links here to access the login and registration page. For now, we're just going to go to the top right-hand corner and select Edit Contact Portal. And now you're going to see on the left-hand side, you have an overview of all of the different pages pertaining to the contact portal. On the top navigation, you have content, styling, and settings. And then you can configure your options for the respective pages on the right-hand side here. So I'm going to start off with the login page, and you're going to see your options on the right here. So whether or not we want to show our logo, which you can toggle on and off. You can select a different image for your logo if you would like so. And then you can also select the size of it, whether it's small, medium, or large. I'm going to do medium in this instance. Then you also have the option to include a cover image if you would like. I don't have that in there for the time being, but just to give you a quick example, you can toggle that on, and then you can add a cover image here, for example. And now if we navigate to the desktop version, you'll see that that appears on the right-hand panel here. The other final thing that we have within our options is the login code page. So this is actually the page that your customers will be directed to when they go to log in. They enter their email, and then they subsequently receive a code to their email to make sure they can log in securely. So for this page, I'm just going to say log in here, and the subheader is going to be enter the unique code to access the portal. And now I will show you, once we're finished configuring everything, what that actually looks like. Now, this is everything that we can actually do with the login page. So I'm going to move on to the sign up page. So here you can see it gives us an overview of creating an account, entering our email, first name, and then we have our terms and conditions and marketing, etc. here. I'm going to show you how you can tweak that within the content. So on the right-hand side, we actually have the option to configure whether or not the registration page is visible. So if it's not visible, there's no need for us to actually configure it. And when you go to the login page, you won't see the option to actually register for the program. For now, I'm going to turn it on just so I can take you through how exactly everything is configured. We have our logo toggled to be visible here. I'm going to tweak the size to be medium so that it corresponds with my login page. You can also select whether or not the terms and conditions you've configured in your settings appear here. And then once again, you can also include a cover image if you would like, which will be inserted to the right. So again, just to give you an example, I'll use this placeholder image. And then you can see you have your attributes and your subscription types. So attributes in this case is first name for me, for example. I can hit this plus icon if I want to add any other attributes. So maybe you want to add their phone number, for example. You can select that and then hit add. And once you've done so, you can then hit the arrow next to that attribute to select whether or not it's required. And then you can select to remove it as well if you would like to. So I'm actually going to remove the first name as well as the phone number, just to keep things as simple and as smooth as possible when customers are signing up. And then you also have your subscription types here. So as you can see, I already have marketing added in here. You can add a label here as well. So I'm going to say subscribe to marketing. And you can also add other subscription types in here as well if you have them. But for now, I just have marketing in there, so I'm not going to add any more. If you want to, you can also remove this using the same method as you do with the attributes. You just click remove subscription type and it will be taken off your sign up page. Now, the next thing we have to configure is the home page, which is actually the kind of main part of your contacts portal where you have the most content and you can also make it the most dynamic. You have the most options in there. So I'm going to go to content again in the top right hand corner. We're going to select whether or not this actually uses the new header. And now the new header is what you see here, where there's an overview of the customer's profile. So if you don't want that in there, you can just turn this toggle off. Again, we have the option for a cover image, and now that's also going to show up on mobile in this case. Just to give you a quick example of how that looks, I'll use the trusty placeholder image here once again. And now I'm just going to remove that quickly, just because it doesn't quite fit the branding. And now you have these options which are shown here. So whether or not we show the QR code, which you have here, which can be scanned, and that is your customer's unique identifier. You also have their credit balance. So as you can see, 70 points, their prepaid balance, which in my case is also 70. And then the option to add this unique identifier to their Apple Wallet. So that's actually their wallet pass. And the final thing then is whether or not they can collect pre-redeemed rewards. So that's all of our content settings in there for now. I'm going to leave the cover image out. And now what we have beneath this are actually what we call blocks. So as you can see, I have gift cards, I have rewards, I have prepaid, I have my referral program, and then I also have a display. Now a display block is actually kind of like a custom block, so you can do a little bit more with this. It's not as rigid as, for example, the gift cards, rewards, prepaid, or referral blocks. But I'm going to start off with this gift cards block. So you're going to click the arrow here, and then you can tweak the labels here as you would like to. So I'm going to say your current gift cards, and then the subtitle is going to be purchase a new gift card or use your existing one. Again, you can show an image here if you would like to. So if you have an image that's kind of specific to your gift cards, you can do that. This is how it's then going to be placed within this block. And again, you can look at the desktop version here as well if you would like to. I'm just going to turn that off because, like I said, it doesn't quite fit my branding. Now we have our rewards block beneath this. So as you can see, we have the available rewards here. So I have the free coffee option. We also have our prepaid block. Now, one more thing, just to go back to our rewards block, is that this is going to show all of the rewards that are within your loyalty program. So whether or not they are visible can, first of all, be determined with the visibility filters, which is something we touched upon within the loyalty course. But it's also going to show the rewards that customers have not yet earned or rewards that they don't yet have enough credits for. So as you can see, I have 26 points, which you can see here. The free coffee requires 30 points, so I can see that I require another 4 points before I'm able to redeem this reward. Now, moving on, we have the prepaid block. So you can again tweak the content here if you would like to. So you can say view your account credit, for example, or you can keep it to what it was. So it just says your prepaid balance. And then you have your subtitle, which here is use your existing prepaid credit or purchase more as a top-up. Again, you have your option here to show an image if you would like to. That shows up just the same as it did for the rewards block or the gift cards block. Now, moving on, we have our referrals block. So here it's nice to give a little bit of a description of your referral program and what customers can expect if they do refer a friend. So refer a friend and earn $5, for example. And then you have your subtitle. So refer up to 5 friends with your unique referral link and receive a $5 voucher for each completed referral. Then you have your button label, again, the subject and the message. So the subject here is actually going to be the subject of the email that's sent when a customer initiates a referral. So I'm going to say, you've been referred. And then the message is going to say, you have received an invitation to the Leat Academy loyalty program. Join us now. And now that's configured the message that any prospective new customer will receive if they are referred by a friend. And now our final thing is our display block. So you can customize this, as I said. So you can say maybe maybe you have a limited sale, for example. You can say view our sale. And then it's going to be the subtitle. We can say check out limited time offers and make massive savings or something along those lines. Again, we have the option to show an image. You have your description. So this is required. So I'm going to say spring, summer sale, for example. And then here I'm going to say access sale. And then we can put in a URL here. So for example, www.academysale.com. And now we've configured all of the different blocks within the homepage of our contacts portal. So this is all very much content focused for the time being, and we'll move on to the styling, which we have here in the top navigation in just a second. Now the final thing, or the final page that we have to move on to, is the settings page. So again, we're going to hit the content first, and we can see here that you have the option of whether or not to show the identifier button. So you can toggle that on or off. This basically lets your customers add their own identifiers if they would like to. Maybe you want to limit that so that you only keep the identifiers to the ones that you issue when they sign up. This is entirely up to you, but you have the option to turn this off. I'm going to keep mine off for the time being. And then you can see you have your different attributes. So these are actually the attributes that your customers are able to edit within your account or within their account. And you can decide whether or not these are editable. So you're just going to click the arrow next to them, and you can decide whether or not they're editable. You can also select to remove the attribute if you would like to. And then the other blocks within here, like mailing preferences, transactions, etc., they're going to be in there as standard, so you can't actually remove them. So now we've configured the content of all of our different pages, as well as the structure. And just to quickly mention, if you want to change the order of these blocks, so for example, start off with rewards, for example, followed by gift cards, or maybe you want prepaid after rewards and then gift cards, you just select the 6 dots next to the block, and then you can drag and drop them accordingly. So now I've taken you through everything there is to see basically within the content and structure of these pages. We're now going to move on to styling to make sure that this actually looks perfectly on brand. It has our colors, our fonts, our icons, etc. So for the backdrop color, I'm going to choose the lighter color from my brand book. So that's actually the color of the backdrop behind this card. The card itself is here. So just to show you the contrast, I'm going to select that more vibrant yellow just so you can see how that works. And then you have your accent color as well. So you can say, for example, that our accent color is going to be this color that we can drag around with our swatch, as I've explained before. But to make mine nicely on brand, I'm just going to select black. And then you have your advanced color settings here. So you can actually configure these within your settings. And this is more so to do with the buttons. So your accent color is automatically applied here. But if you want to make sure that you have a good contrast ratio on your buttons, then you can configure this within your settings. So we have our colors there. I'm just going to check on the different pages to make sure that they all work well and everything is legible, which it is. As well for desktop, everything seems to be working smoothly. So I'm going to navigate back. I'm going to go to font. Now you can see I've chosen one of the custom fonts that I uploaded while we were doing the settings course, which is my Jocker bold font. I can also change that to another one of my custom fonts, like the Geist black font, for example, or I can select any other fonts that I've uploaded myself here. And now the final thing that we have here are the icons. So we have our app icon and the favicon. So just to give you an example, I'm going to upload an alternative one there. And you can see that here. So we've actually configured all of the styling here. I'm just going to click through and again, make sure that this looks perfect on all of our different pages. It does for desktop. And again, for the mobile version, everything also looks good. Let's check the sign up page and the login page, and everything's working perfectly there. So the last thing we have to configure within our contacts portal is the settings. So you can link a custom domain here if you would like to. You're just going to click link domain, and then you'll be brought through to either a Leat subdomain, or you can configure a custom domain here. So this is something I also briefly covered in the settings aspect, but you're going to put in your domain here. So for example, leatacademy.com. Then you're going to click through to next. I need to change this because the word Leat is actually prohibited because it's our own domain. So I'm just going to remove the T and click through to next. And then you can click create here if you would like to. Now, navigating back, you also have your business information. So this is based on the business profiles, which you configure within your settings. So you can select the business profile that you want this contact portal to be associated with, for example. I'm going to keep mine to the Leat Academy for now. We have our payment method. So this is going to be Molly or Stripe typically, or any other payment provider that you actually set up when you're doing the settings of your account once again. You then can select the gift card program that you want to connect to your contact portal. So then that's going to take the various gift card options, for example, that we configured in our online store and put them within the contact portal. So I'm going to keep mine to the Leat Academy for now. And then you also have the analytics option where you can add a Google Tag Manager to your contact portal. And then you can see here, we have the option to do manual styling. So you have a little bit more control over the styling of your contact portal. But I would recommend for at least the first version when you're going live that you leave the manual styling off, just so we can make sure that everything is within the correct parameters and it's styled exactly as it should be. And then maybe you can move on to manual styling once you've gotten your first version live and it's starting to already get some customers signed up and using the contact portal. So this is just a really quick overview of all the different things you can do with the contacts portal. I already touched on how you can add different products in terms of gift cards and prepaid to the contact portal to make sure you're maximizing it as a revenue channel. I've shown you how you can stylize everything within the different pages as well as the content. So this is just a really quick overview. You can customize a lot of it, and this is a really great touch point for generating a little bit more revenue for your company and also making sure that all of your customers have a personalized environment to get an overview of their loyalty status.